Well, well, well. Let's run it again. What's going on, everyone? It is your boy Thriller, and we are back for more analyst work again. This time, I will be your analyst for the BBL, the Bandless Battlers League. This is a league that has definitely been one of the mainstays of Wi-Fi ever since I think either really late Gen 7 or Gen 8 for its majority of its sea time. It has finally made its return in Gen 9, and I'm super excited and ecstatic to see how some Gen 9 Ubers is going to go down this season. This is a very stacked roster that we will go over with and talk about here in the orders and stuff that they will be. But if you guys are excited for a new project that I will be doing during my vacation from Draft League, hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not yet already. Our goal is to try to hit 200 subs before the end of the year. We are at that 136, 137 margin, and we are so close to 200. I think we can hit 200. I believe we can. But with that being said, let's break it down. First, let's go over the roster of coaches, which you can find in the description down below, as you guys can check out their links down below and definitely go give them a subscription. Please, some of them are some of the best of the game, and this is definitely some of the best players that you're going to be looking for here, and some of the most entertaining players that you ever done seen. Let's talk about these coaches in numerical order. First off, we've got the man, the myth, the legend, coach of Bling Bling himself. We've got It's Whatever, aka Ant. He was a replacement coach for BBR last season and basically took over a team, just barely missed off in the playoffs. Ant is someone that I don't really know. I've had a chance of talking a little bit with him in other servers, mostly in like JGL and talking in some Scramble. I've had a few interactions with him. Ant's a pretty decent guy. He's a really good battler. Definitely knows how to draft really well. And I'm definitely looking forward to see how he does with his team this season. Up next, you've got the doctor of Draft League Thugonomics itself. We've got my man, Mr. Strongjaw himself, Joey, aka Pokemon MB. This is my guy. Joey is arguably to me the best battler in Draft League history. Joey is like the mind of 1,000 suns is in his head, and when he takes some of the mocks that he takes from some of his friends that help prep for him and prep with him and stuff like that, whatever Joey comes up with, like the sophisticated EV spreads and stuff like that, he's so like amazing to see how Joey plays. And Joey is my absolute dream opponent that I would like to battle, whether he's in a draft league game or a competitive Wi-Fi game that actually would like matter for leagues or something like that. I would love to face Joey. He is my absolute dream opponent that I would love to face before I retire. And I only probably got some time left before Joey does. I know Joey's going to keep doing it as long as he can, but I know sooner rather than later Joey's going to retire, and I definitely want to have my opportunity to face him if there was ever a chance to face him. Up next, we're bringing back Shuckle King, baby. Shuckle King kind of took a little bit of a break and was doing some showdown content for a while, but he's now back on the Wi-Fi grind and is great to see him. Will his Hax Lord of Tyranny continue with Ubers instead of low tier? We'll find out this season. And will we still see some of the best breakdowns and draft analysis from him coming this season? Well, to tune in and find out. Up next, we got my brother from another mother, my main goat, Mr. Obo 10. I'm not gonna live that down, Owen. I can't. I just can't, Obo. I can't. But someone should have made you Obo 10 or Oak 10. One of anyway, man, Obo. I absolutely love Owen to death. One of the first major friends I made in the draft league scene, and I'm proud to call him a brother. I'm proud to call him a friend. I'm really looking forward to see how he does this season against some of the best battles in there. He obviously will not get to face some of the best, which I'm a little sad, but he does still take on a good roster of people, as everyone in this league is fantastic, except for the next coach, but we'll talk about him next. It's Keegan, so we'll move on. And I'm just kidding. So if anyone's wondering, there's always a theme that we just like to bash Keegan for no reason. It's just meant to be funny, joking content. It's not very serious. In real actuality, I think Keegan's a really phenomenally good player. He takes a bad team and makes it good. Except this time around. I actually think I really like his team. It's definitely better than his BBR team. But Keegan, obviously a great mind of the draft league scene. Feels like he really knows exactly how to play the game in a proper format and stuff. So I definitely think Keegan. It's gonna be really interesting. He's actually doing some Uber practicing, so definitely check out his subscription below because I think he's going to be in some live streams, keep doing testing. Definitely gonna give him some pointers. I think Ubers is definitely a hard format to get into because you have a certain play style with Ubers a little bit. But overall, I'm really excited to see Keegan. Up next, we got my boy B Double Del Rey in the building with a new logo this time around and a new team name, the BC, which I have no idea what it means because he didn't say it anything. I would imagine it's gotta be something like something Solgalios of some sort, but it's basically a Solgalio logo with BC. You'll see it in the draft analysis and draft streams of his channel, and obviously we'll find out what it is. I wish he would have iterated what it was so I could have known, but I still don't know, and I think it's more funny if we do that way. But we got my boy Dell coming back. Dell has gone through a lot of stuff recently with moving, losing a very important person in his life, and going through some hard times. But I'm happy to see Dell back. I'm ready to see Dell with the mascot on his side, put in the work this season. Of course, we got one of the all-time best, arguably top three best draft league players in the entire game in Vepsis with the trademark Hello, my little dinos. Vaps is here. I love that intro. It makes me smile every time. Vepsis, one of the all-time greats. He is a phenomenal batter. I have the pleasure of facing Vepsis a total of 2 times, and I am 1-1. Vepsis, we need to have that rubber match, man. We need to have it one way or another. But Bepsis, absolute amazing player, super strong player. Is making a really strong run of the PBL as current moment, or has finished based on the time of recording. This is at the matchup time frame when the people are recording. Because breaking the fourth wall, I'm recording this way like a month early in October, when the battles aren't even going up till November. So I'm way ahead of the main game right here. I just wanted to start recording. I just really wanted to get into it. Give you guys a really good long video as well. Up next, we got my main man, my goat, Amil, the newly crowned and hand-picked BBR champion by yours truly, even though I didn't handpick him in the beginning, but I handpicked him in the finals. But we got my main man, Amel, and this is Mr. Creativity with the disease of nasty into him. He will take any Pokemon and deconstruct it and reconstruct it into a twisted, creepy, or weird, or you don't know what kind of way. So if we see Choice Band and Umbreon and it claims 6 KOs, you'll know why. Or if we see Choice Specs Ogerpon claim 6 KOs, you will know why. Amel is so goddamn talented, and he is definitely a deserving champion and a deserving, really well respected player. Really looking forward to him using Ubers again. This is, I think, is his second or third time using Ubers. I think it's his third, maybe third or fourth. Up next, we got mi Hamano, mi brother, mi man. D Ray. And D Ray, I know, has been having a bit of a really buff burnout and struggle with Mons lately. And I know that feeling, brother. And I think with this break you just took and to get right back into it, you're ready to crush it this season. I think you have a solid team, bro. And I think you're going to be really great this season. I think it's finally time to click some effing buttons and to claim a championship for the Annihilates this season. Also, if I sound very congested and stuff, I'm actually starting to catch cold. So yeah. Up next, we have another Mimikyu staple team, follow that were inspired by D-Ray's logo. I'm fully committed to that. And it is the most chillax player you'll ever see. You'll literally see it in his logo, you see it in his plays, and you see it how he builds. This is the main man, Viz himself. Viz is he's one of the top three most creative battlers in the league, and we have all three of them in the same division. We first had Amel, and now we have Viz. This is an insane builder. He brings some of the weirdest stuff that probably doesn't make a lot of sense to bring into a matchup, but he makes it work. I mean, he cooked Joey with a weakness policy facade Ting Lu. Like, come on. Can you not tell me that's not such a fire set that worked perfectly exactly how he wanted to as well? So, amazing player. Really looking forward to seeing Viz in this league. Of course, we've got my goat, my guy, Nexus Senpai. Nexus, I won't lie to you guys, he has been beaten down a lot. So many chances to make playoffs that he has missed. But I am believing, I am putting all me chakra into my sensei Nexus here. He is going to make the playoffs at least this season. And I believe that he will do it. He has had some experience before in a league that was trash, but he did really well in it. So it was at least okay. But I'm really excited to see Nexus back. I love to see him on that grind still. And hopefully he gets to be another person I hopefully get to play in the future as well. Up next, we got the Crimson City himself, Seabed, aka Chase, coming back. Definitely had a really rough time with the PBL and has kind of been having a little rough time in most leagues. But he keeps a smile on his face. He keeps trying to win every single week and just tries to put on great games every single week. And he's overall just a fantastic human being. Obviously, a really good guy. And every once in a while, I go back and just binge some of his draft league videos all the time. And he's just a cool radio chill guy to talk with when it comes to his videos. So Chase, awesome guy. Don't know how much experience of UBERS he has, so it's gonna be really interesting to see how he does this season. Of course, we got my other bro from another mother is my boy John Jr. And I am so interested to see how John does in Ubers. I don't think he's ever played Ubers in his entire life. There's only one Uber that he has played with the most, and it's one of the Pokemon you see on his team. If you don't know who it is, you don't know John and all that. But we'll talk about it more when we get to his team. But John, one of my best friends in the entire draft league community. Again, one of the first few people I ever got to interact with and just connected instantly with a brotherhood. And I'm super excited to see how he's going to do this season. It's his first time ever in the BBL, and I'm really excited to see how he does. We've got one of the GOATs coming back, Chimpack, making his return again. Everyone thought he was going to be in SPL that one time, and that was a one and done deal. But somehow Joey has convinced Chimp to come back again, and Chimp has now come back. Chimp, one of the most goated draft league players back in the day. Obviously, some of his more primary draft league was a league that shall not be named. It was a disgrace, and he felt ashamed partially to be a part of it. He only enjoyed it because his friends were in it. That's all that was really good about it. Chimp's return didn't show any ring rust. Did not show any rust. Made the playoffs. And unfortunately lost round one. But Chip's back. I bet he's here just have some good old time, try out some fun stuff, and hopefully just do well and just have fun, which I'm really excited for Chip. Chip's honestly a really cool guy. Pretty chill dude. I really like him. Up next, we've got oh my god. Hold on. Excuse me, I have a sneeze. Like I said, I have a cold, so I might sneeze in between those recordings as well. But we've got Mr. Goat himself. I've looked at all the record books, and he may have had records in leagues, but this is a man that, when it comes down to it, has never really lost a game in his life. This is the man that showed why you can use a Blossom and get a 6-0 sweep with it. I think 6-0 sweep. I don't remember the video off the top of my head. But he's now going to prove to people why Terra Ditto is godsend. It is the boy, the man, Kyle A. And Kyle has been around the block. He's had a really rough Gen 9. He has pretty much not won a lot of games, I'm not going to lie to you. But you know what? Kyle puts a smile on people's faces. And you know what? He never has that no die, no quit attitude. He fights with everything, and he brings that special sauce and that special heat every single week, baby. And if you're looking for some entertainment, Kyle is your man. Up next, we got my brother Jason, aka Titan, the man I am Mr. Mock 24/7 with. I am his head mock guy here when it comes to helping build his teams and helping him mock. I've actually built Jason a team one time, and he won a game because of the team I built. He made a few tweaks, but he basically took the team I built for him and he won a game. So if that shows you anything how good me and Jason know how to work with each other, a lot of these coaches should be ready because this dynamic duo is going to be tough to take down this season. But really excited for Jason. He's going to get chances to face off against a lot of great players, and I'm really looking forward to helping him out and hoping to bring him that championship this season. Up next, we have the GOAT of graphics himself, and one of the kind of like an underrated GOAT in the draft league scene. That is CB Marcus. This is Mr. Draft Galarian Slow King every single chance he gets type of thing. Unfortunately, he got sniped a bit this season, which is very unfortunate for him. I know he was definitely probably heartbroken because that is his goat. But this is a man that can take any type of creativity and just make it work. He is a very successful draft league player in CB Marcus, and I think first time I ever saw CB Marcus, he had long hair, and he was just a really chill demeanor and just really relaxed and really liked his personality. Just a really great guy and just a really cool dude to talk with. It would seem like so. Really happy for him. And last but not least, we have a returning champion, and I think arguably the only remaining true BBL member of the draft league scene, at least when it comes to Ubers, in Owen. Now, obviously, D Ray had a chance to do one season or such, and that was it. But this is a man that has competed, I think, in pretty much every single season he's joined. He has made the playoffs and he has won a BBL championship. I want to say twice. I think it's only once. No, it was only once. It was once. He got screwed in seconds. Well, partially screwed in seconds. He kind of cost himself a little bit too, but but Owen, one of the all-time best battlers out here. He is a really good friend of mine. Me and Owen really click. I'm a decent helper with Owen as well. I have not really been that much of a help at these couple of seasons for him, which I do feel really bad for. But I think Owen's got a really cool team. I think Owen's a really fantastic battler. And out of all the BBL coaches, he has probably the most experience with Ubers, not counting Joey and Jim because of all the random bets and all the stuff they do and everything like that. But in terms of all the other players, not counting those guys, I think Owen's gonna have the most advantage going into this one because he knows Ubers pretty well. So it's gonna be really exciting to see how it goes this season. Now, with all the introductions out of the way, we got some rankings to do here, and also a massive shout outs to my brother Jason, aka Diet Tight, for the epic, and I mean epic tier maker that he made for me. As I am ranking these teams on a piece of paper, I'm going to show you guys where I am ranking them and placing them in a certain order of sorts. So real quick, we're going to go quick ranks up here. We have 10 out of 10 teams, the best teams that had no flaws, and if there has flaws, it was just very, very, very tiny, but not enough to make it down. And 9 out of 10, your team was pretty much flawless. There was only one thing I really saw with it, kind of pushed it back for me. 8 out of 10, your team is really great. There was maybe like one or two things I saw that I really felt like really hindered it a bit. 7 out of 10, your team's all right. It's pretty solid, but a couple of things can make it better or could change it up to make it fantastic. And you're still cool, but you have bad teams. There's just people that I felt like had the worst teams out of all that. So this is basically any 6.5 and below teams, which there was only, I think, two teams that actually got lower than 7 on this one. And it's going to be a pretty interesting one. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go based off the rankings on here and then talk about their teams and go from there. First one that we're going to talk about is the number 18 pick in the rankings. And it's a pretty sad sight because he was probably within my top 3 in my BBR standings. And unfortunately, your 18th ranked coach for this season of BBL is going to be the more Peaky United and my man Omo. If I can stop clicking the wrong button. So stop clicking the wrong. There we go. So why does Obo's team suck? Well, let's find out. Obo's team is consistent of Groudon, which also, real quick, we'll talk about the rules and information before we get into this. But first and foremost, basically the general rules are going to be this. It's going to be Terra Preview with a max point budget where you can get up to 2 Terra captains, which can be high tier captains. But straight restriction. Last respects. Shedtail is banned. Levelberry banned. Group Calling King's Rush are banned as well. And it is Terra Preview. If a coach does not declare his Terra captain's typing before his opponent, that match is an automatic DQ, and the opponent will win the match automatically. So let's hopefully not have that happen. But as you can see, the Uber rules are this. So the Uber rules are simply like this. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Basically, 30 was a platinum. And that's how it worked. I keep clicking the wrong thing. So if you get one platinum Uber, that's it. You can't get another Uber. That's it. That's it. You can't do anything about that. With the other Ubers, there's certain combinations that you can go with. You can get a gold and a bronze, a silver and a bronze, or if you're going for insanely good value for your Ubers, you can get two silvers. So a lot of combinations or really planning to build around your Uber. So really important stuff to note there. Actually, hold on. Wait a minute. Oh wait, never mind. Okay, it was gold. Wait, why do I see this in, why is this in platinum? That's not a platinum Uber. Wait, what's wrong with you? Anyways, back to the reality of the stuff we're going with here. But Obo, let's talk about Obo's team. He has got Groudon, Raging Bolt, Screamtail, Rillaboom, Sneasler, Mandibuzz, Milotic, Hisuian Guja, Porygon 2, and Bayonet. His Terra Captain is only going to be the Raging Bolt as he had no other points, which is bullshit. He had a Bayonet that he could have Terra'd, which I think he missed out on an opportunity because I would have not hated this team as much as I think Terra Bayonet can be the truth. I will say that, but he's still banned. So we're not even going to talk about the Bayonet because it's trash without Terra, and I think it's not worth drafting if you don't draft it with Terra. Even though I'm someone that drafted it twice, never used it, and it was just there. So, anyways, what made me not really like Obo's team? I think Groudon plus Rillaboom is not great. I think there's a sway to VGC Central with that. Because if I remember correctly, I'm pretty positive that Precipice Blades will get affected by grassy terrain. I'm pretty sure it does. If I'm wrong, I still think I would rank this team pretty low because I don't like Groudon paired with Sun Abusers. Now, I would say if you grab one Sun Abuser, it's fine. Like, for example, like Screamtail is not really a Sun Abuser, in my opinion. Screamtail fits both with the Sun and outside the Sun, so I don't really care. So your only Sun Abuser is Raging Bolt, which I think is not a terrible Sun Abuser. I would have loved to see Raging Bolt paired a little bit more differently, especially if it's your Terra Captain. Like, because now when you Terra it, the Rillaboom Grassy Terrain thing doesn't affect it too much. Obviously, you go Terra Fire, Terra Steel, or Terra Electric, you can still take advantage of it. But if you Terra out of that typing, it doesn't really help you in that regards of that spectrum. So I don't think it's really that worth it. But it'll be interesting to see how he does. I think Screamtail's good support. Rillaboom Sneasler has become a very dynamic duo in terms of singles draft league and VGC alone as well. It's just really a strong dynamic duo. Mandibuzz, Milotic, Gudra, and Porygon 2 form a nasty defensive core, which is super disgusting. The only thing about this draft I just don't like is the very prominent of just I don't think it meshes. Like there's okay momentum, which is not that bad, but I just don't think it meshes well. There's really no hazards besides Stealth Rock and Toxic Spikes from Sneasler. But yeah, there's only like two rockers on this team, and that's Groudon and Screamtail, and I think those are kind of pointless rockers. Like Screamtail is not terrible, and Groudon's not terrible as well. But I feel like you're forcing Groudon to be defensive. I feel like Obo just didn't draft a Uber that really synergized well with the team. And I felt like he grabbed an Uber that is not going to be taking advantage of its full potential. But it's going to be interesting to see how Obo takes this team. It'll be very interesting to see how he plays it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he does. Let's see how many times I say interesting in one sentence. I'm sorry if that annoys you. I can't help it. All right, back to our board and the other team that we will put in the same category as Obo, and it really hurts me to put him down here because he is such a first off, he's a fun guy. He's really awesome and he's really creative, really talented, but he's at least better than Obo's team at least. And that unfortunately is going to be Amil, your most recent BB. Okay, there we go. Amil, which for some reason got his thing cut off, so he has half an ice face. Is Amil, and I will say I actually do like Amil's draft, but if we had to rank it on perspective, it's probably one of the worst drafts because for one, what's the Terra Grappler? Like, come on, man. I do think I do like the funny fact that he went Origin Pelican and Dialga. I found that really freaking funny. But if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't know how much all this team matches well together. There is very hard counterplay to good fairies like Volk and Gengar can't always do it. Palkia Origin and Dialga Origin are actually forced to hoard their orbs in order to stay in the forms that they are, which sucks because before the patch of that happened, you could ran Choice Scarf and Choice Specs on these guys without it. So unfortunately, you can't run the orbs again, so that's really sucks. But I think just the first two are fun picks. I think it's really cool. Gen 4 represented, baby. Um, Everything else about the team is pretty okay, but there's really weak hazards. Like there's spikes with Ogerpon, but I feel like you're wasting Ogerpon's kind of value as a Terra Captain if you're running spikes. Obviously there's T spikes with Gengar, which kind of be okay, but they're only situational. Magic Bounce with Hatterene and Dogman with Earthquake, and Rapid Spin is your only removal, which is not the terrible, but it's not great. Um, I I don't know. I don't even know if I like Halucha. Like Halucha also gives you defog, which is not bad, but then there's a lot of times you're running defog with Lucha. But it's an interesting team. I think Amil can cook with this team, but overall, I just think if we're ranking it on a perspective of the team, I just don't think it's really matching all that well. So, but Amil, I'm scared what he's gonna do with this stuff. Like I'm scared to see what he can do with something like Umbreon. Like if we see choice specs or choice ban from that damn thing, I literally will say Amel's the most craziest player in the history of drafting, and that would be considered a compliment to him. But it's gonna be a really interesting season for Amel for sure. Up next is our 7 out of 10s, and there was at least I believe I think only one 7 out of 10. Yes, there was only one 7 out of 10, I'm pretty positive, and that was the Sacramento Blings, coached by Ant, because it's whatever. Yeah, no. Okay, anyways, we've got Ant here, and I think Ant's first two picks, ballpark, home run, first two picks, in my opinion. Perfect. Perfect first two picks. Especially with an Uber like Calyrex Ice, which is one of the arguably most broken Ubers in the entire game itself. I think this is one of the most broken Ubers of all time, even with the Gen 9 Ubers allowed in there as well. I think when you pair it with Layered Slowking, which is great pivoting with Trick Room, Chilly Reception, it is so disgustingly gross. I think the pivoting around the team with Flip Turn, U Turn, Volt Switch is really, really great. I think some really good, decent defensive synergy is really great. I think the offensive synergy is really great. But again, it's gonna be a common theme. I feel like with this team does not take advantage of hazards. Now, before anyone says anything, including you, Keegan, I know Meowscarada gets spikes, and on this type of team, I can see why spikes would be brought. Now, do I still think spikes on Meowscarada is great? No, I don't. But is it worth it now for utility? Yes. I think the Terra Walking Wake is honestly such an oddball pick. I think it's one of the most random picks on this draft for me, personally speaking. I don't know how I feel about that even being on the team in general, and I don't think it really has any place or value in it, honestly. Um, the Torterra's an interesting choice as it gives you a second grass type. But I'm guessing there's no other good grounds that were left, and which is decent ground nonetheless. I mean, it's not terrible. Munchlax, he's just the mascot for the team. Um, in terms of the ghost and dark weaknesses, I think dark you can kind of manage a little bit better with having offensive prowess and Scizor, good decent switch-ins with the uh Moltres and the Palmont. Ghost is definitely a massive problem, and I don't care what you say, Ant. Munchlax is not a proper ghost answer. But I will say this: Terra Stonejourner. I want to see you cook with this. I want to see Stonejourner pop off this season. If he does not get at least a singular kill this season, he's just a bad Pokemon for the rest of his life. But overall, I think Ant's pivoting is really, really good. Again, the only thing I don't really like is the lack of hazards on this team. I just don't feel like it's reliable hazards as well for the most part. But the pivoting is really solid, and overall, it's just a really good team. I just don't really know how it meshes up well. It started off great, but then it trailed off and just didn't finish the way I think Ant really wanted it. So Overall, good team. Just don't know how it's going to feel, but it's going to be really interesting to see how Ant plays with it. Ant's really good with whatever he drafts with, so it's going to be really interesting to see how he uses it. Up next is going to be the 7.5 rankings that I did. So basically, they will go in the 7 out of 10 category, and they will be above Sir Bling Bling himself here. We'll go over this. Actually, let me do this. Okay, hold on. Very professional. Very professional here, guys. And I did have some 8.5 out of 10s. So we'll add that. So our first coach of the 7.5s, which I think there was a grand total of short back. It looks like three coaches were 7.5 rankings. And of the three, I have unfortunately put most chill guy ever. And I hate that fact I keep clicking the wrong button. We got Mr. Chill himself, the Viz, which it won't let me. Thank you. We got Viz here. Now, Viz's team is personally a team I think is fun. And I think he's going to do really well. I think it fits exactly the kind of style he likes. But from a competitive standpoint, I call off the shots here. So, Viz's team is Deoxys Attack, Shaman Sky, Hisuian Simran, Archalon, Palafin, Pelipper, Ursaluna, Vikavolt, and Mimikyu. The mascot pick. So, with his team, I think Webb's offense is disgusting. I think this is super disgusting. There's nothing that really takes advantage of defogging away the webs, so I don't really like that concept of it. I think his Terra Captain and Vikavolt, solid pickup, even though Vikavolt is kind of bad this gen. I think still Terra Vikavolt is the truth. Terra Ursula Luna will be very interesting this season. I think it's going to be one of the more interesting models to kind of keep an eye out for this season. So a really good, solid choice here. And it's going to be really interesting. Shit, see how well he does with it. I think with the mini Raincorn, Palafin, Palipper, Archalon, and even things like Samurott as well. I think it's gonna be very interesting to see how he incorporates the team here. It's gonna be really interesting to see how well he does it. Obviously, he doesn't have to worry about running max rain turns unless he wants maximum damage output with rain. But it's gonna be really interesting to see what he does. And I'm sorry I keep using the word interesting. It's gonna be a common theme you see here. But I will try my best not to annoy you guys so much. But overall, an interesting team by Biz. I think the only thing that was really drawing it back to me, there was no removal on this team. There's only spikes with Hisui and Samurai. There's spikes obviously with Deoxys, but I think with Deoxys attack, you're supposed to be doing what exactly he's supposed to say in the goddamn name, which is attack. Spikes obviously with Samurai is alright, but it's not great. He has no stealth rocker except our child, I'm pretty sure, and Deoxys, but again, they don't. One of those two doesn't count. Our child can kind of run rocks. It's like a core fourth move that you would really need if you're not really running anything else different. I do think the Web's offense is really great. I think defensively, this team's really frail, in my opinion, but it's going to be really interesting to see him by Viz, and it's going to be interesting to see how well he does. Coming up next, he surprisingly is not last place, but he's also a new team name. I can't see the top half of it, so we're just calling them the Magic Guards. And okay, can I stop clicking the one thing else? We've got Keegan making his comeback here after having such a strong. Okay, can we? Thank you. I've never such a strong start in the BBR. Unfortunately, lost in round one of the bracket of the playoffs. So let's talk about what Keegan's team is cooking with this time. He has got Lunala, Greninja, King Gambit, Florges, Blastoise, Infernape, Bronzong, the Dunsparce, Houndstone, Mudsdale, Swallow. His only Terra Captain is King Gambit. Now I will say this. If he can only get really truly get one Terra Captain and like Swallow was gonna be worth more than that, I can understand not Terra and Swallow. So he gets past that. But Terra King Gambit paired with Greninja and Lunala is insanely disgusting. I think offensively, that's just disgustingly broken. So really good start from Keegan, and then the rest of it kind of intertwines okay, but falls off. First off, he has no removal besides the Blastoise again. He's done this again, folks. Also, he's done the theme again of picking a starter that gets spikes, but I don't really like it with spikes. So I don't count it. Yes, I acknowledge it gets spikes, Keegan. Sorry, Keegan wanted to call me out for not knowing spikes existed on a Pokemon. So I'm making sure he knows I know. But this is a very, in my opinion, I think with the Stealth Rock setting, the Stealth Rock setting is perfectly fine. I think Bronzong or Muzdale easily reliably runs out every single week, opening up the door for Bronzong, King Gambit, doing so much more damage, even the Dunsparce as well. The Swalot, he's just here to party. The Dunsparce is the second best pick of his entire team because that is the goatest Pokemon in the world of goats. I guess the Lunala, the Greninja, Terrakin Gambit, they're kind of okay. They're kind of a tie for second. But Dunsparce, I'm here for the Dunsparce, man. Uh, the things about Keegan's team is I think he really kind of nailed, was a little off with it, but I think I liked that he went with kind of more of like a bulky support paired with some really solid offense to really just open the door and just click buttons and just kill everything. So really glad that really worked out for him. The only thing is his removal is just Blastoise, and Blastoise wants to Shell Smash. Now he is forced to be a defensive water for the rest of his life of the season, which I hate. And your toxic grounded poison type being a Swalot, Keegan, of all the grounded poisons, this is probably the worst grounded poison on the board. The one person that has a Muck has a better poison type than you, and that says a lot. Muck hasn't seen so much viability this gen over you in every shape, form, of way. So, anyways, I'm sorry, Swallow fans. But the things I didn't really like about the team was the fact that again the hazard removal is just Blastoise. I really think I mean Rabbit is fine, but I just there's not a ton of hazards to take advantage of it. Yes, Spikes Greninja is viable in certain matchups, and I will acknowledge that. I still don't like Spikes on Greninja. I will say the Dunsparce, fantastic Pokemon to pick up against it's one of the best counters to Lunala in the game in my opinion, and it's one of the best ghost answers in general. So I think the fact that he grabbed that was really smart on Keegan's end. The Houndstone, I literally have no idea why he has a Houndstone. That is the most like questionable. Like, did he just pick it because he likes dogs? Which I mean, shouts to you for that. I like dogs too, but I don't get the idea of having a ghost type rare. I really don't. I think that's one of the main reasons I really didn't like Keegan's team. Is he had an unnecessary type here on his team where he could have replaced it with something different. And just overall, the team it synergized well, but it didn't come together fully in the way I think Keegan should have had this team come together. But again, snipes happen, so it's part of the thing. But Keegan definitely has a better team. This is definitely better than his BBR team, in my personal opinion. Obviously, UBERS plays a factor, but we don't play UBERS. Obviously, if you think it would be like Grand Forges and below, I think it still would have been better than his BBR team. And the last 7.5 team that we are going to talk about here is my man Dell with the mascot pick here in Solgaleo. I kind of already spoiled it basically, but it didn't matter because it was still going to be going up here. But Dell's team is Solgaleo, Urshifu Single Strike, Landorus T, Skeletor, Gomora, Isunia, Electrode, Weavile, and Amorous Team Dondozo, and an irrelevant Pokemon. And that thing is never coming up for once. What trio is trash. Now, I will say this. I think the Terra choices were smart. I kind of would have liked Terra Lando T. Actually, real quick, is that allowed? Uh, wait, where's Lando T? Yeah, Terra Lando T was available. So I personally think Terra Lando T would have been a lot better. Obviously, still did try Terra Lando T last time he had it, and it ended up looking like it didn't really work out for him. So I can understand why he didn't think it was Terra. But Terra Skeletor is one of the most broken defensive Terra captains in the game. So the fact that he got that was a smart value pick for UBERS as well. I think he's doing Electro, obviously one of the most fastest, one of the fastest of all time, like the top three, if not top five fastest mods in the entire format of UBERS. And having it as a Terra captain, really smart budget pickup there for him. Obviously, he has some other fantastic Pokemon such as Weavile, Urshifu, which I think Urshifu and Solgaleo pair perfectly with each other. I think they complement each other very, very nicely offensively and slightly defensively as well. So fantastic pick on the UBERS, which I I haven't really mentioned on the Uber synergy for the teams this much, but this is one of the first ones I noticed when I was doing my rankings. I was like, damn, this synergy pairs perfectly together, and I really like that. I think overall this team is very reliant on Glamora for hazards and potential rocks from Lando T, and that's just it. I think also Glenn being your only chance of removal with Mortal Spin is also pretty irrelevant in my opinion. So this team has no real hazard control. So, and I think with a team like Solgaleo, which really does not want to be boots every single week, Weavile would be forced to be boots every single week, and MRST would be forced to be boots every single week. I don't like that. I think having a more reliable answer for hazard removal over something like just Glims, like I think if you get rid of the Dondozo Wotrio and get like a water type and then like a budget spinner that can work for the team. That would be a lot more better. But overall, Dell's team, I really like it. I think it came really well together. I think it's going to serve Dell well. I just think it could have been slightly better in terms of how I would have ranked it. And it could have been a little more higher. Now we're going to get into the 8 out of 10 teams. And there was a total of 4 teams. Yeah, actually, hold on. I think I might have messed this up. Yeah, I think I slightly messed this up, I think. Yeah, I actually messed up my list here. So coming in at number 12, actually at the bottom of the list here for the 4 teams that competed for the eighth slot for 8 out of 10 is going to be the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins. I keep thinking of Miami Palafins because it's literally Miami Dolphins. Like, come on! That's the perfect. Sorry. It just triggers me. There's not a lot of team names that have this. But we got the OG team name, the Miami Don fans, my man Kyle A. And Kyle's draft is lit. It is heated with all the heat in the world. It is Chimpow, Great Tusk, Ditto, Iron Moth, Sylveon, Rotom Wash, Arboliva, Jirachi, Spidups, Trapinch, and Giratina. Regular form. I don't know what the regular form is called. It's just regular form. His Terra Captains are Ditto, which you threw the damn dick on the table and said, picking that mon round 3. And he did. I want to see Terra Ditto do the damn work, man. I want to see if this mon truly can be broken with Terra in the right situation. I really think it's going to be doing really well. Outside of that, the team is a little lackluster. I'm not going to lie. I think Chimpao plus Giratina as your Ubers don't really synergize well. I feel like I don't think they really work together perfectly in some aspect. I love Terra Iron Moth. That is one of my goats right there. I love Terra Moth so much. Need to draft that thing again. Other than that, his team's a little lackluster outside. Like it's a little bit more on the defensive end, a little bit. I do think the Great Tusk though could still be offensive. Same with things like the Roman Wash, Jirachi. You got the homie Spidops and 1 point Trapinch. Don't sleep on him. Trapinch has been history made to get 2 kills in draft league by the Queen Addison herself, and no one has duplicated the success of Trapinch than her. Kyle A has that chance. And if you don't respect the pinch can trap you, snap you, clamp you. Oh, bars, baby, bars! I'm stupid. But overall, Kyle's team, I just felt like it. Obviously, he's got creativity, but I just don't think it meshes well. I think it's a little bit on the defensive end, a little bit towards me for a little bit on this. But I think Kyle can make some absolute heat sets from this, and I think he's gonna do really well this season. Coming in at number 11 on the ranking is going to be Mr. Graphics himself, aka CB Marcus. And Marcus's team is quite interesting. He has got a Palkia, a Dragapult, Zapdos, Excadrill, Tentacruel, Tyranitar, Gardevoir, Rabombe, Hisuian, Voltorb, and Mienshao. First off, why would you dare not make Hisuian Voltorb a Terra Captain? CB Marcus, you're betraying your boy. Anyways, I think your Ubers, I think Palkia, fantastic. I love Palkia. It's one of my favorite Ubers I've ever used in draft. Pult is garbage. It is terrible. Not worth a round one pick. It's worth round two, if anything. If anything, it could be round three or four. That's right. I said it. I'll see your pitchforks outside my apartment later. But overall, he went with a sand route for this with sand Ubers, and I think he really nailed it though with the bulky waters. Like Zapdos Palkia is fantastic for the bulky waters that you're going to deal with. The grass types you're going to deal with, having Zapdos, Tentacruel, and Rabombi is perfect as well. The pivoting is really strong here, and I think Terra Drill is going to wreck shop. And I am super excited to see Terra Drill. I personally think I should have tried that. Excuse me. And I want to try that in the future season I do play on in leagues I do. The sand team though, I absolutely love it. It's really, really good. I think what holds it back though is really minimum hazard setting. Like you have two spinners, which one really isn't going to do because he's going to be a sand monster. But you do have a reliable spinner in Tentacruel, but there is no spikes. There is only Stealth Rock and T Spikes. That is the and Sticky Webs, which arguably is okay, but spikes I feel like are more important than Stealth Rocks. So the fact that you do not have spikes hurts it a lot. But I do think the webs offense that you can do here with this team is disgusting, and I think overall a solid draft nonetheless. So very good team by Marcus. I think he's going to do really well this season. Coming in into our top 10. He barely cracked the top 10. One, three, six, nine. Okay, I can't count. Number 10 is going to be I believe, the San Diego Gallades or Southampton Gallades. I don't remember what he called his Gallade teams. But we got my man OGL Bina Owen here in his Gallade team. He has got the Dialga, Fluttermane, Mew, Crocodile, Ogerpon, Coderstone, Coquavel, Residipity, Shaman, and Rotom Heat. First off, I'm really excited to see how he makes Mew work with Terra this season. I think Owen has been one of the most advocates for Stallbreaker Mew that he thinks that is the best new set. But it's really interesting to see how he's going to branch out with either defensive Terra sets or offensive breaking Terra sets with Mew. I think it's going to be really cool. I think the Dialga Fluttermane is very interesting in terms of your Ubers. I think they don't mesh too well. I do think they cover each other pretty decently for the most part, countering typing wise. But I think overall they're kind of so we'll see how that works. Obviously, your hazard setting is very limited down to just a crocodile and Ogre Pond clicking spikes. Now, with Cornerstone, I can kind of see why you would run over in spikes every other week or almost every week because it can do that reliably with Sturdy. But obviously, you have Mew, which you do every other hazard in the game. But again, if you're using Terra Mew, I don't know if you really want to be reading hazards. Quaquaval, which I don't think I've ever seen Owen draft before, so I'm really excited to see him use that. I love that one with Rapid Spin. As your only rapid spinner, I think it's actually fine. Obviously, Mew can rapid spin too if you really want it for utility, and he can also defog for you if you want. But I think also the fact that you have really no proper hazard setting though, that isn't just spikes from Okerpon, which most times can make it work, but I don't know if it's really great. And your only main rocker being Crocodile is really rough. Like Mew, I really don't see you want to bring hazards with. Unless you feel confident you don't want to tear it this week, which can make a lot of sense. Outside of that, I hate Pheasantipity. I think that's a trash Pokemon. He's got his MVP Crook coming back, which is obviously the main reason he wanted to. I think the Rotom Heat pair on this team is really cool. I think it's gonna be really interesting to see how it is. His pivoting is a little weak, I won't lie, but overall it's a strong core. And overall, just a decent team. I think it could have been done a little bit better, but I think overall it's a really good team. And coming in number 9 is going to be Mr. Strongjaw himself, Joey Pokiam D himself, leading this band of misfits. We got Joey here, who's got Mewtwo, Zarude, Enamorous, Gliscor, Iron Crown, Primarina, Gouging Fire, Smeargle, Avalon, and Vileplume. I told Joey this personally in his stream during his subathon. This team at first I thought looked really weird, but it goddamn looks hell is fun to play with. Now, here's why I say it looks weird. I think it looks weird because he has a Smeargle that doesn't have any purpose on the team, besides being Joey's second form of hazard control. Mhm. I think Terra Avalon, obviously not a model you should really sleep on. Vileplume has been proven to put in the goddamn work. If you've not seen Dawn Fanatic use Vileplume, be great he's used Terra Vileplume, but he has used the damn Vileplume to major success, so that's really great. But let's talk about some of the fun stuff Joey has. He's got Mewtwo, which I think arguably, even if it's like the only Uber you get, it's it's a freaking Mewtwo. Like you cannot say no to that. He has got Enamoris. Hold on. Excuse me. He's got Enamoris. I love the Iron Crown. He went double pair. Excuse me. He went double paradox for the recent for the DLC two drop there. I'm really excited to see him use uh what's his name? Gouging Fire. I don't know why I'm blanking on it. I love Gouging Fire to death, and I'm so looking forward to Joey using that thing. It is going to be an absolute behemoth. I'm looking forward to Joey using that thing. And Primarina, I think, has definitely been a mon that Joey has been dying to try and draft, so I'm really excited to see him use that. I think he's got really good hazard support with things like Gliscor and Smearing will technically support it. I think Gliscor is going to be a little bit more utility for that purpose, though, where Smearing can do a lot of the things. But it'll be interesting to see how he does with it. I think Terrazarude is about to pop off. Because if there's any man that's gonna make Terrazarude broken, it's Joey. Like obviously Jack's using it right now, but it's limited Terra type. So with this, Joey can custom tailor the Zarude every single week, and I would not be surprised if this is his main Terra captain every single week. And Terra Avalog maybe coming 1 week. Who knows? But I'm really looking forward to Joey's team this season, and that is why he's number 9 on my pick list here for the rankings this season. Now we get into the coaches that ranked the 8.5s out of 10. And we have, I believe, only 3 people that hit 8.5s. Oh, just double check here, double check here. Yes, I believe we only had 3 coaches that hit at 8.5. The first coach that hit at 8.5 and is the number 8 person in my rankings is unfortunately going to be my main man, Jason, in the Minnesota Lycan Wolves. And it really touched me to put Jason down here. This is a little bit early, but I do think his team's really good. I think there's some things we need to talk about though. First off, he's got a regular Zamazenta, Giratina Origin, Decrozma, Snorlax, Thunderous Incarnate, Azumarill, Mamoswine, Fortress, Hisui Quillfish, and Minior. His Terra Captain's being the Necrozma, which with Prisma Armor I think is fantastic. A fantastic Terra Captain choice for the high tiers. And for his low tier choice, he went with Meteor, which I think is a goaded pick. I think that's a goat pick right there. And I'm ready to see that thing pop off. Now, in terms of Ubers, again, I don't think they synergize well with each other. I think the defensive aspect of it is decent, and the offensive capabilities are really okay. I don't know if it pairs well, though. But it'll be interesting to see how he uses his team to support it, though. Obviously, Terra Necrozma, fantastic Pokemon. Snorlax, a big old big old blob of normal and just a really good poison immunity as well for the team. Thunderous, which I think actually provides really great utility with things like Tailwind, which I'm pretty sure knows options for things like Rain Dance and stuff like that to boost the powers of Pokemon in his team, which I think is really cool. Azu, I absolutely love Azu. Fantastic fairy type. Would have probably gotten another water to pair with Azu though, just so it would have benefited a little bit more of an offensive water, if anything, probably. Mamoswine, not a bad mod. I think it's really decent in Ubers. I don't know how great it's going to be here. Fortress, I'm going to be honest, I hate Fortress. It's kind of a useless Pokemon. Histilian Quillfish, he might have something to prove this season, and it's going to be really interesting to see how well he does it. And Terra Minior is obviously super good because of Shell Smash potential. And there is some creative ways you can kind of build this thing, as I did with the UMPL low tier season, off season that we did. Overall, what I didn't like about Jason's team, his only ghost resist is Snorlax and Quillfish, which I don't think is bad, but think could be patched a little better potentially. His stealth rockers are a Mamoswine, a Necrozma, and a Fortress. And realistically speaking, Fortress is the only main abuser I would see of that. And maybe Mammoth, but I don't remember seeing a Grosmith with a rock, so we've a wasted rocker right there. The pivoting is okay. It's a little lackluster, I won't lie, but it's okay. I think Quillfish is being your spiker over Fortress, in my opinion. I think Fortress can run spikes really decently well as well. But I overall think Fortress is better at being a potential T spike user for your team over Quillfish, and then Quillfish just being your spiker because it's really good at being better than that. I think the team is a little bit not too offensive for my liking. I think obviously on paper it looks very offensive, but I just don't know if it really meshes that well. I think the synergy of the team doesn't really balance out in some way, but overall, I think it's a really great team, and I'm really looking forward to taking this team with Jason to the championship and winning us a championship this season. Coming in at number 7 is my sensei himself, Nexus, here in the number 7 slot in the Toronto uh Tyrantrums, I think is what he goes by. Nexus's team is Magearna, Spectre, Ting Lu, Salmons, Cinderace, Uxie, Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Wheezing, and Abomasnow. Terracap's been the Salmons and the Abomasnow. Smart Terracap's choices for the most part, I would say. Let's talk about the draft. First off is UBERS being Magearna Spectre. I think these are Ubers that do pair really well with each other. I think these are Ubers that complement each other really well. It is another good defense, good pairing of offensively and defensively in some matters and just overall really, really good support. Options for Trick Room with this team are very limited, but I think the Trick Room support looks really good. The speed support looks really, really good as well. And I think when it comes to hazards, it's a little lackluster, and we're going to be honest with you. But with Uxie being a reliable rocker every single week, and then Tinglu can be a reliable spiker every week, I think it does balance out. His hazard removal is primarily going to be the Cinderace and the Cinderace only, unless Selmas keeps defog, which I don't remember. But overall, I think Nexus's team is not terrible. I like it. I do think the Terra Abomasnow is just a random pick. I can see why he likes it though, with Veil support for this team. Veil with Magearna and Spectre is disgusting, and I think it's just disturbing on so many levels. But it's really good. It's a really good mod, and just see how well it does. So, overall, I think the pivoting is a little bit lackluster, but it's not terrible. I think it's really good. I think the offensive capability of this team is really great. I think the defensive synergy of this team is really good between Buxi, Weezing, and Ting Lu. I think it's really solid. And just overall, really good team by Nexus. I think this is definitely one of his best teams he's drafted so far in the Gen 9 format. So, really excited to see how Nexus does this season. And coming in into the top 6 is going to be my main man, John Jr., the Portland Night Shaders here. So John's team is Ho-Oh, Kieran Black. Who would have thought? We'll talk about that in a minute. Goldango, Iron Bowler, Grimmsnarl, Toadscruel, Galarian Weezing, Azel Swamper, and Gratel with Terras on the Iron Bowler and the Gratel. First off, if you guys don't know, Kieran Black is John's favorite Pokemon of all time. So the fact that he was able to get Kieran Black, oh my god, he's excited like a little schoolboy. And I think he's allowed to use Dragon Dance and Ice Spear, which I think makes it really worth value then. I just don't know how Ho-Oh pairs with this. So I think you have to take a defensive Uber like Ho-Oh and you pair with a good offensive Uber like Kieran Black. I like that. I think that's a smart strategy in terms of picking your Ubers. Like the thing with Kyle's, like his Ubers, be granted, don't pair well together. I think the contrast of grabbing bulk and pairing with offense is really fantastic. I don't think this pairing works well with each other, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Obviously, John's been a massive fan of Goldango, which I think Goldango's really been that great. My main man, Shoulder Day, aka Iron Boulder, it's a rock. Terra Boulder, especially, is going to be really interesting this season. I know John really did not have any good high hopes when spoke when he took it from JDL season. He pretty much went undefeated ever since he picked it up, and he made all of the finals with it, and it finished as the kill leader. So he became a believer after that. But I'm super excited to see how Terra Boulder works. I really want to see how that thing pops off for him. I think the screen support that he has with Crimson is disgusting, man. He has really good option for hazard removal with the Rapid Smith from Toad School, the Wheezing with Defog, and Defog from Hollow if it still keeps Defog. I think the hazard support is a little bit weak. Obviously, he has spikes with Toad School and 2 stealth rockers and Acid from Swampert, along with rocks from Toad School and T-Spikes from Wheezing, which is very viable. Overall, I do think John's team kind of meshes well with it. I think he's been dying to use Swampert for the longest time. So the fact he's got Swampert back for pivoting is really good. That's another thing with this team. Pivoting is really kind of weak. It's a little lackluster for my liking. I want to see Terra Grotto. I want to see Terra Grotto Shell Smash and claim a KO. John, I want to see it at least one time. I know it's okay if you didn't want to bring the Terra Wigglytuff at all. Bring Grottle one game. I am begging you. I will give you $100 super chat in the next live stream if I get a Terra Grottle to get at least a kill. Please. Please. Anyways, overall, John's team, very solid. I just don't know how it's going to construct well with each other, but it's going to be really good nonetheless. And I think overall, it's going to be a fantastic team for John. And I think it's going to fit kind of into his style. So I think it's really great. But now we get into the top nines, and there are only three top nines. There was no 9.5s, no nothing like that. All these were nines, and they were nines alone. And the person that we are going to put in the number five slot, and was the bottom 9 out of 10 player, 9 out of 10 draft for me, was Crimson Sea out of Detroit City Steel Wings. And you can see by his team right here, he's got Deoxys, Garchomp, Clefable, Indeedee, Iron Hands, Bramble-Gust, Metagross, Chi-Yu, Manaphy, Dipplin, and Jumpluff. We're just going to ignore those bottom two Pokemon because they're not really Pokemon, except Dipplin, but Dipplin's not that great, I'll be honest with you. Deoxys paired with Psychic Surge. I was kind of thinking at first, I felt like that was really weird, but then it literally just smacked me that there's no Sucker Punch, there's no Shadow Sneak that stops Deoxys. There's like the extreme speed which could body Deoxys that he cannot stop. Deoxys and boosted Psychic type moves so you don't throw out Psycho Boost unless you want an absolute nuke on something. My God, Chase has created a monster mod with this, and I really like how he really separated his hazard control perfectly. First off, Garchomp, Clefable, Metagross. 3 miles, each can run rocks any single week, and the other can do something different. Garchomp does not have to be pressured into spikes, where Bramlegas can just run spikes, and Garchomp does not have to run spikes. And it's just overall a fantastic thing for him right now. The only thing that kind of stopped his team from being great, first off, was no grounded poison type. I think that's going to be forcing a ton of boots on things, and it's going to also be massive pressure on things like Bramblegas. Bramblegas is his only removal, as this is the only rapid spinner he has. Which I won't lie, if it's your only rapid spinner, I don't like that. I really don't. I think in terms of his Terra Captains, Indeedee kind of makes sense. Iron Hands is interesting. I personally would have gone if you have Indeedee and there was a chance to tear the Metagross with Chi-Yu and have enough points, which I think you probably would not have enough points. But if you could at least tear the Metagross, at least I think it would have been worth a lot more value. I don't know how good Terra Iron Hands is in singles, so it's gonna be really interesting to see how well he does. But I'm a massive Iron Hands fan. Like, just also look at the mods that he has, like Metagross, Chi-Yu, Manaphy, Garchomp, like just some amazing mods on his team, and I just ranked it super high because I just loved everything about it. The only things I didn't really like about his team was his bottom two. I think his bottom two could replace for a 3 point poison type that could have done at least something for him. And just overall, the fact that he only has one rapid spinner, that it's a Bramble Gas. But everything else, I think, just pairs really well and matches really well with. And overall, I think Chase has got a really good chance to make the playoffs and has a decent chance to go all the way this season. Coming in at number four is the Hax Lord himself, Shuckle King on the Philadelphia Stunkies. And his team is insanely top heavy with Zacian, Iron Treads, Ogerpon, Wellspring, Latios, Darkrai, Deoxys Defense, Pecharunt, Hariyama, and Aquilodin. Terracactus being the Ogerpon, which can automatically only be a water type, and Aquilodin. So looking at his team, top heavy central. I would probably say expect is probably his top six most weeks. I can definitely see a slide in for Pecharunt, Hariyama to fit in every other week, which is really, really great. Rapid Spin only on treads is not the worst for a top heavy team. At least you have some form of hazard control. I do not like the fact that you have rocks that can only be really reliable on two mods. When you can still have one that can do it, and the other one that can run spikes. Like Wellspring, I don't think ever runs spikes if you're tearing it, so that you're relying on spikes with yes defense. I think you run stealth rocks treads, most weeks not, so that way you can run like spikes recover and then just two coverage moves with the X defense. I think the fact that he went top heavy for his offense in the first five and then went bulk for his next 3/4, I think was a perfect, brilliant strategy that I think really works well, especially with Zacian. I think this team really functions well with Zashi. There's good amount of pivoting, which is really nice in this team. I think overall this team has a really great utility base around it. I think the Quillen is a worthless pick, in my opinion. I can see the value it brings. I know it brings spikes, but overall it's Quilladin and it's trash. But overall, I like Shuck King's team. The only kind of slight drawback I had was a little bit too much of the top heaviness of super overpoint budget Pokemon. But Shuck King has been known to do that a lot, and he's made the teams work perfectly the way he wants. And so he knows exactly what he's doing in this type of draft. I'm really excited to see some more Hariyama gaming. Hariyama is the most underrated fighting type in Draft League, and you cannot tell me anything otherwise. So absolutely love that Pokemon. Coming in at number three, and the last coach to hit a 9 out of 10 score is going to be, of course, the man that has a bird for the logo, but is known as a chimp. It is Chimp Packed himself in the Philadelphia Fearos. I'm pretty sure that's what his team name goes with. And I just want to tell you right now, in UBERS, this is a scary offensive team. Like, there's no really good defensive quality. I think in UBERS, and this also format of Gen 9, the meta is strictly offense, and I think this fits perfectly for everything you're looking for. Zekrom, Torrentee, Terrapagos, Tinkaton, Landorus, Sinistra, Overquill, Ogrepon, Heartflame, and Keldeo. The offense on this team is damn near impossible to switch into. I think Terra Torrentee was a perfect pickup for him. Obviously, there was nothing else probably he really value wise to get a 3 point Terramon out of, which makes sense. Obviously, his main bulk is going to come into things like Tinkaton, Sinistra, Overquill primarily. But his offense is just so goddamn scary. I think hazard setting's a little weak on his end. I think he probably knows that. His also removal is Terapagos, so shouldn't be able to be forced from boots every single week, which I don't think Chip would care. I think Chip can work around that, obviously. But overall, just Chip's team, I just love how offensive it is. I think it's ranked so high just because of that. Like I said, the only nitpick I had was that it just was a little bit more of like limited hazards, a little bit, and also the fact your only spinner is a Terapagos. But other than that, I love Chip's team. It's definitely a team I would love to try in a hyper offensive type of meta. So overall, a fantastic team, a just fantastic team. So now we get to the top two here, and these coaches both scored a 10 out of 10 for me. And I think these are the first two coaches out of my analyst career, maybe one other coach possibly, but these two are the first two I scored top 10s in. So I had to rank these on this. The way I separated them in the terms of who had the better teams of the top 10 was who had better Terra captains, who had better Ubers that controlled well, paired well with each other if they went more than one, or just Uber in general, and more or less how the team synergized with both. And I personally think one coach hit all three, while the other coach managed to hit two out of three. And that coach that is number two in my standings is going to be D Ray of the San Diego Spirits. D Ray, I think, has drafted probably one of his best teams, in my opinion. He's got a Cure White, the Speed, Annihilate, Balloon, Ninetales, Slowking, Cyclozar, Earthworm, Sandy Shocks, Hisuian Arcanine, and Skunting. I think both him and Baptist nailed it on the Ubers. I think the Ubers pair really well with each other in terms of what they can do support wise, the offensive capabilities and stuff like that. I think when it came to team synergy, they both nailed the team synergy perfectly. I think the team synergy with how D Ray has the veil in both Ninetales and the chili receptor with Slowking is perfect. Absolutely perfect opportunity there. The removal with Cyclozar is obviously pretty decent for this format. The hazards that he has between Earthworm, Sandy Shocks, and then even having with the speed is really great. Just the only thing I felt like was a little bit of a lackluster was a little bit of the pivoting and bro the Terra Skunk Tank, but Terra Annihilate is obviously his baby. Let's hope he can actually make Annihilate work, because every time I've seen D-Ray with Annihilate, he's done bad with it. And that includes Terra. So let's see if Annihilate can finally Rage Fist himself into a championship. But overall, this is D-Ray's best team I think he's ever drafted. And I'm really excited for him this season. I really want to see D-Ray do well, because he's obviously a fantastic player. I think sometimes he just gets a little bit lost in thought or gets too much in his head a little bit. But I'm really hoping he can buckle down, get himself strapped, ready to go, and just get ready to win a championship this season. Which means my number one coach of the season and my number one pick that has the best team is going to be Vepsis and the Helsinki High Dragons. And Vepsis has Rayquaza, Iron Valiant, Zelmus the Crown, Mesprit Klefki, Alamola, Muck, Thunder's Tea, Rhydon, Serena, and Incineroar. Obviously, your only removal is Serena, but it's not the worst only removal in the game. This team checks every box perfectly, balances its offense with its defense. Good hazard support on the team. Good Terra captains on this team, which was the only thing he had an advantage over D-Ray, because I think he's Terra captains. Chef's kiss. Rhydon, one of the most underrated Terra captains in the entire drafting meta scene, and I don't care what anyone says. That is a goated Terra captain. Thunder Sea, obviously, I have not shown to be really good with Terra with it, but I think Vepsis has a really good capability of showing how good it can really be. The pivoting is fantastic. The Ubers he has are so good complementary wise to each other, which is really fantastic as well. The support between Mesprit, Klefki, the pivoting with Alamola, the U-turning, the parting shot, and just the spikes, the rocks, the T spikes. I think everything fits perfectly, and I don't think there's anything I hate about Bepsis' draft. I think Bepsis' draft is honest to God perfect. I think this is the best draft in the league, and I think it's one of Beth's all-time best drafts. And this is his second time, I believe, running Ubers. The first time was back in APA. So the fact he came now full circle back now to Ubers in the BBL, where BBL started the main Ubers format, is really exciting. And with that, that's our rankings. To recap, number one is Vepsis. Number two is D-Ray. Number three is Chimpact. Actually, let's put this up here for you guys. Number four, Shuckle King. Number five, Seabat. Number six, John Jr. Number seven, Num Nexus. Number eight, Diet Tight. Number nine, Joey Pokemon D. Number 10, OGL Bida. Number 11, CB Marcus. Number 12, Kyle A. Number 13, Del Rey, aka D Double. Number 14, Keegan. Number 15, Viz. Number 16, and aka It's Whatever. Number 17, Amil. And number 18, Obo/Obo 10. With that being wrapped up, guys, that is going to be your power rankings and your tier shapes here. If you guys want to see your own tier list and stuff like that, I'll leave a link in the description to your tier list. And let me know what you personally felt had the best team. And let me know your thoughts and comments about how hyped you are for the season. Who is your coach to win this season? I'm not going to make my pick until at least around the halfway point of the season, where I will make my official pick to win it all this season. With that, I hope you guys are strapped in for a long couple of weeks/months, because we're going to be diving into these games, and I'm really looking forward to putting the work here. And if any coach would love to do any interviews or join me for discussions and stuff like that, I would absolutely love to host you, because I want to really get to know the competitors, and more importantly, I think the fans would love to get to know your perspective for the Uber season this coming season. But that being said, though, thank you all guys for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Definitely check out everyone in the description, because everyone is going to be bringing the absolute fire this week, and I'm looking forward to watching it myself. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.